Hey there, it's Paige here from the Impact Copywriter and the Sales Funnel Shop. And today I'm going to show you how to set up a simple challenge funnel that you can use to grow your email list, to attract potential buyers, and to start building that credibility, through those lessons that you send them. A 5-day challenge or a similar type of challenge, however many days it lasts, can be a great lead magnet for people who sell digital training products in whatever format, where the person buying from you is the person who's going to actually do the work. That's because these kind of challenge funnels attract more of the DIY type. So they're going to be a better fit for products where they're going to be doing DIY and doing a lot of the work themselves. So if you're selling things like online courses or workshops or digital downloads or training videos, or even in-person training or done together programs or something like that, then a challenge funnel could be a great option for you to attract those ideal buyers and then grow your list. Let's start by looking at what a simple challenge funnel looks like from the big picture. How does it flow? What's involved and such? As with any funnel, you're always going to have a range of traffic sources. Well, as for most funnels, you're going to have a range of traffic sources. So maybe you're getting search traffic. Maybe you are using Facebook. You're creating Facebook posts and sending them back to your opt-in page. Maybe blog posts direct people back to your opt-in page. Maybe you're sending a newsletter email that goes back to your opt-in page using Instagram, YouTube, etc. So you're getting a lot of traffic from a lot of different sources depending on what type of marketing mix you're using. So really the first step in the funnel is landing on the opt-in page, and that's offering them the free 5-day or however many day challenge. So when they say they want this thing, they want this challenge, they want to achieve this outcome, they enter their information in the form. It's usually in the form of an email address, sometimes a first name, and they submit. Now, once they submit, they're added to a list in your email service provider. And now that's automated and that's made possible when you're using a landing page builder that integrates well with the email service provider of your choice. So if you're using something like, in my case, I'm using Divi or Elementor, and those are WordPress plugins and themes, and they integrate nicely with ActiveCampaign, which is what I use for my email service provider. But you can also use, an external tool like ClickFunnels or Lead Pages or Unbounce to build pages that will connect to your email service provider of choice. So you will need some kind of tool like that to build landing pages. So once they submit that form, they're added to your list, and you can trigger a range of actions to happen on the back end. And that's what I'm going to show you here a little bit later in the demo. But they don't see that happen. That happens behind the scenes. And instead, they go from the opt-in page to the thank you page. Now on the back end, we're going to trigger some emails to send. The first email is going to be kind of your confirmation/challenge day 1 email. And this is assuming that this challenge is evergreen, like it's always happening and it's not happening live. So they're going to get the day 1 email is going to be in the delivery email, and it might just be an email challenge. So if this is just an email challenge, all they're ever going to get are emails, and those are going to have the content and the challenge inside the email. However, you might also take it up a notch and send them to videos. So you might have landing pages where you've embedded videos and you're going to include that link in the email. You might be sending them to Facebook Lives where you've hosted like a live challenge before and now you're evergreening it. So it depends on kind of what your challenge looks like and what assets you're using, whether it's just email or if it's video, if you're sending them to blog post pages, for example. It doesn't really matter so much. You can customize this kind of blueprint to fit the way your challenge is already set up. So if you're just starting out and you don't have an existing challenge, the simplest way to start is easily with just the emails, right? They're just going to get emails. They're going to write the content in the emails. You're going to give them their challenge, and then that's it. They're just going to read the email and do the challenge. And the next day, the same thing, and the next day, the same thing. But it does give you an extra edge and help you build a lot more trust if you use more like a video challenge. So where you're sending them to videos where people can see your face, where they can, demo whatever you're telling them to do and things like that. So that is the next step if you decide to take it a little bit further. Going back to our automation, as soon as they opt into the challenge, they're going to get that first challenge email, and that's for day 1. On day 2, we're going to send another email that includes the next challenge. On day 3, the next email. Day 4, the next email. Day 5, the next email. And that's essentially the end of our challenge funnel. And then we can decide whether or not what that next step is. Do they go to the newsletter? Do they go to some kind of webinar promo sequence or something like that? So that depends on what your bigger funnel looks like. So that's your simple 5-day challenge funnel. It's sending one new challenge every single day. Now that's a good idea or a good time frame for challenges where the challenge or the homework itself is relatively simple and they don't need a lot of time to do it. But if you have a challenge where, they're going to need several days to be able to work through that challenge, then you're going to need to change that interval so that you don't overwhelm the people going through it. I will say one thing about the thank you page real quick before we move on. You can see here that I do have a thank you page. And when you're doing funnels and you might potentially use Facebook advertising in the future, you want to always send people to a confirmation page, because in the Facebook advertising platform, when you're setting up custom conversions, you will use that link to tell Facebook that, hey, this person converted. So you want to always send them to a thank you page. And it's also a great way to meet that expectation. So they know that they have been successfully subscribed, or they've opted in and it was successful. You can also use your thank you page very strategically. You can embed a thank you video to help start building those touch points with your brand. You could embed a survey, which has one question, open-ended question relevant to what they're opting in for, so that you can better understand why people are coming to you, or why people are signing up for your thing, or what they hope to use it, how they hope to use it, what they hope that does for their business or for their life. You could also, in this instance, you could embed the first challenge on the thank you page, and then just send them, straight to the first challenge, and that email is still going to their inbox to make sure that they get the link to that challenge. But those are some options that you have. All right, let's look at a real life example. So I'm currently planning a 5-day challenge, potentially on the topic of email marketing. So we're still in the planning phases, but I do have the automation skeleton set up already, because this helps me think through the challenge in the big picture. So I'm going to talk you through what the challenge looks like and the core automation elements that you'll need to make a challenge like this work. So the first element is the start trigger. And this is the action that tells the automation to start. So as with most kind of freebie type funnels where people are opting in from a landing page, most often you're going to use a start trigger that happens when a contact subscribes to a list. So you'll set up an individual list for each type of opt-in offer. And when someone signs up to that list, the automation begins. That is the easiest way to do automation on the back end for those types of offers. So we have a trigger when someone signs up for the 5-day challenge and they get added to that list in my ActiveCampaign dashboard, then this automation starts. The second thing you're going to need for an automation is, of course, the emails, right? So you're sending them the challenge email. So you can see here that I have named them very simply EMCH1 for email marketing challenge number 1. And then once I build out that content, I'll actually add the topic into the name. So I've got an email for challenge 1, an email for challenge 2, for 3, for 4, for 5. So I've got 5 emails. So that's the core piece number 2 that you'll need. The third piece you'll need are wait triggers. So we don't want all the emails to be sent at once. And if we don't have wait actions in our automation that you can see here, then everything will happen in order without hesitation. So as soon as someone opts in, they'll go straight through this action, this action, this action. They'll get an email. If this wait trigger wasn't here, it would go straight to the next action. So essentially they would get all 5 emails at once, which is super overwhelming. It's not what we want. We want the automation to wait. So all we have to do that is to add a 1-day wait trigger between each email. For any action that we want it to wait for, then we add a wait trigger. So you can see I have one between all the emails. And then the final core piece that you'll need is just simply an end action. And in ActiveCampaign, it just simply says end this automation. So voila, it ends. Now, those are the core pieces, but you can also add other pieces to make the automation more beneficial for your business. And I'm going to talk about 2 specific ones. The first one is tags. Now, you can use tags to segment subscribers based on actions that they take with your business. So in this case, I'm using an interest tag. So how that works is when someone opts into something or signs up for something or takes a particular action, I ask myself, what can I reasonably infer about this contact or about this subscriber that's beneficial for my business? And in this case, if they're signing up for a 5-day challenge on getting started with email marketing, then I can reasonably assume that they're interested in email marketing. It makes a lot of sense, right? Now, if this was a challenge that was specific for course creators or specific for coaches, then I could also reasonably assume that this person sells coaching or this person sells online courses. So depending on how you're messaging that lead magnet or that challenge in this case, you can add different tags to help you learn more about subscribers so that you can send more relevant promos, more relevant content, more relevant offers later on. The second extra action that I add is to subscribe them to the newsletter list. So everyone gets funneled to the master newsletter list, which is where the free content goes out. So as soon as someone signs up for the challenge, the first thing that happens is the tag is added and then they get added to the newsletter list. And so they'll be on that list to get free content moving on. And as a note, the subscriber never sees anything about this. This is just happening in the back end. They're not notified or anything like that. So we're not spamming them with extra stuff that they didn't ask for. And then immediately after they are added to the newsletter list, the first email goes out. And that's really what they're waiting for. Now, this happens in a matter of seconds. So it's really quick for the subscriber. And that's it. That's all you really need to build a simple challenge funnel that attracts potential buyers to your email list. Truthfully, there are more advanced things we could do here. We could send reminder emails if people don't open the first one. We could, segment, and we could add other advanced tags based on, how people are interacting with the emails. If someone opens 3 out of 5 emails, are they a better lead? Are we going to do something else with them? If they don't open any emails, what are we going to do with them? So those are more advanced things that you can do. But I don't recommend you start getting too advanced, too quickly. First, get your funnel running, and then you can decide, what makes sense for your business. So don't get overly complicated before you need to. All right, now we're going to set up the automation that I just showed you in real time. So I'll walk you through exactly how to set this up in ActiveCampaign. So the first thing we want to do is just to create an automation. So I'm in the automations part of my dashboard here in ActiveCampaign, as you can see by this gear and the arrow going around it. And then I've clicked create an automation, the button at the top. It's going to launch the wizard, and I'm going to start from scratch. Okay, ActiveCampaign is going to automatically prompt me to add a start trigger. I always start without a trigger, and I add the trigger at the end. And I do this just to start safely so that just in case this automation was made active, but it wasn't ready, it wouldn't start without a start trigger because there's no action to tell people to go through the funnel or for it to start moving people into it. So I'm going to start without a trigger, and then I'm just go ahead and exit out here. Now, the next thing I want you to do is to go ahead and name your automation. Make sure it's clear and descriptive of what this automation represents. So for the purposes of this demonstration video, I've named mine the 5-day challenge demo, and I've just abbreviated 5D for 5-day. But you can see in the original, I've named it the 5D challenge and then the topic. So email marketing. And as I flesh out what my topic is going to be in this funnel as I'm planning it, then I will actually change that to be more descriptive. Maybe it's the 5-day get started with marketing challenge or something like that. Get started with email marketing challenge, excuse me. So you want to make sure that it is specific and clear and descriptive of what the automation represents. That just makes it easier on you in the back end to be able to identify once you have a lot of automations in your dashboard, to quickly identify what everything is. So we're going to wait on the start trigger. We're going to add that at the end. The next thing we're going to do is add emails, and we can just drag those emails into the automation. Now, when you start any new automation, you'll need to create the emails to begin with. So I usually name emails based on the topic of the email, and also if it's something like a challenge where there's an order, I will also give them a number. So you can see in our example, I've named them EMCH1. So email marketing challenge number 1, email marketing challenge number 2, email marketing challenge number 3. So that's how I prefer to name them. So here, since this is just a demo, I'm just going to name them CH1 for challenge 1, challenge 2, challenge 3. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for all 5 emails. All right, every time you create an email, it's going to prompt you to select your template and move forward into inputting your email content and such. So when I'm setting up the email automation skeleton, I skip this stage because I set up the automation first and then I add in the email content later after I've written it. So just as a side note, when you're using ActiveCampaign or any email service provider where you got to rely on a template, make sure you go ahead and set up your templates at the beginning when you start using the tool, because it'll save you a lot of time later when you're setting up different automations or sending email broadcasts or whatever you're doing inside your tool. If you already have that template created and you don't have to re-input all those design settings every time you send or create an email. But for now, I'm just going to save and exit. Now, keep in mind that we're not sending a separate delivery email like we would in, say, a simple freebie PDF type funnel, because the delivery email and the challenge day 1 email are the same email. So you can just, confirm that they're getting the challenge by sending the first challenge to their inbox. Now that I have email 1 set up, I'm going to set up the rest of the emails. Perfect. Now we have all of our emails set up as placeholders. You can see they're all in a draft. We have them named at least with the number, like challenge 1, challenge 2, challenge 3, challenge 4, challenge 5. And then once you go in and set up the email content, then you can change this name just to add like the topic of the email. It'll be a lot easier when you're looking through your reports and stuff if you add the topic to the email as well, or to the name of the email as well. So it's just easier for you to understand what that email is about. With our email set up, next we want to add our wait triggers. So we're just going to drag wait triggers in between, from email 1 to email 2, anywhere we want the automation to wait a day before sending a new email. Now we will not add a wait trigger to the beginning because we want them to get the first email right away. The wait action is underneath the conditions and workflow. We're going to wait for a specific period of time, and we're going to set that to 1 day. Now you can customize that on the back end depending on what your challenge funnel needs. So if you want to wait 3 days, then feel free to customize that, or 2 days, or whatever makes the most sense for your challenge. We also don't need a wait trigger after the final email because we're just going to tell the automation that it's time to end. So underneath conditions and workflow as well, we can find the end this automation action and drag it over. All right, this is the simplest form of your automation. So if you're not using, the tags or the adding to the subscribers to your newsletter, for example, then all you really need are the emails, the wait triggers, the end action, and then we'll go ahead and add our start trigger as well. So to start this automation, most often you're going to use the subscribes to a list trigger. And you want to make sure you select the particular list. So I've already set up a list for this, even though I don't have anyone in it yet. So mine's called the 5-Day Challenge Email Marketing. So we're being very clear on what the list is for. I'm going to let it run multiple times just in case someone wants to go back through it. And then I'm going to start. Perfect. So now we have our automation. If you're not using the other actions that I explained to you earlier, then all you would need to do from here is add your email content. Make sure you test your emails, test your links if you're using links. And then, once that's good to go, all you have to do to activate it is click the active button. And then it's live. Anytime someone subscribes to that list, this automation is going to start. So let's assume that you are going to use tags and subscribe options like I use in my automations. So as a personal preference, I like to add the tags and other actions like subscribe to a list at the beginning of the automation. So you're going to find those actions under the contacts section, and we're going to add a tag, and then just type in the tag that makes the most sense for your business. So in my case, I'm going to say that they are interested in email marketing. You can see I already have a lot of these tags set up so that ActiveCampaign is auto-populating those. So if you didn't have any of those set up, you could just type them in and ActiveCampaign will create them for you. Make sure to use tags that are relevant to your business. So interested in tags can be used no matter what kind of business you're using, because you can say that they're interested in certain types of topics, certain types of products, those kinds of things, certain types of tools, for example. You can also, tag by the type of customer. If you serve different customer groups, you can use tags that say, oh, this is a, course creator, coach, service provider, freelancer, those kinds of things, depending on what you sell. So make sure you just sit down with yourself, think about what types of information are most relevant to know for your business so that you can send more relevant email marketing later on. Next, I'm going to add a subscribe action. So I'm going to drag subscribe. It's also underneath contacts. And I'm not going to subscribe them to all the list. So please don't do that. Make sure you subscribe them to the list that's relevant for this action. So in my case, I'm going to add them to the Copy and Funnels newsletter. Apply and save. All right, now you have your slightly more advanced actions happening in your automation so that you can do more personalization later. And that's it. That is the simple challenge funnel automation. So let's go back to our map. So you can see here, I've left an open-ended kind of step for the next step in your funnel. So if this is your first 5-day challenge and you don't have a next step, that's fine. You can end the automation just as I previously showed you. But if you do have a larger funnel, and this fits into, say, a webinar funnel, and you're going to send people, the next step is to promote them to sign up for your webinar. You're going to send them a series of emails pushing the webinar, telling what they're going to learn, the types of benefits, the outcomes, etc. And the goal is to sign up for that webinar. Then you're going to send them through another automation that's designed to promote your webinar. So let's say that's what the next step is. I'm going to show you how to modify your automation to funnel people into that next step. So where we're going to make the change is at the end of the automation, right before we tell this automation to end. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into conditions and workflow, and we're going to start a separate automation. Drag that in. And from here, you need to already have that automation set up. Otherwise, you won't be able to select it. So I don't have one set up for this. So let's just say I'm going to send them into this demo automation here. And let's say that that's the next step in my funnel. And then to give them some cushion between getting that final email and then going into another automation where they're going to get more emails, I'm going to add another wait trigger. And that's it. That's how you funnel people from, the 5-day challenge part of your larger funnel into the next step of your funnel. All you have to do is to add a simple start another automation action into this automation for that to happen. That's it. That is the simple challenge funnel automation as demoed in ActiveCampaign. Now, it doesn't matter if you're doing a simple 5-day, email funnel or however many days, that doesn't matter either. If you're starting with emails, that's a great place to start. This funnel will work with you. And if you're starting, a bit more advanced when you're using challenge videos or sending them to challenges you've previously hosted, like on Facebook Lives in your group or on your Facebook page, for example. You can do that as well. All you need to do to go from just email only to a challenge page is to set up those landing pages if you're embedding them on your site directly, and including the link to wherever you're going to send them in the email itself. So if you're setting up landing pages, you want to include the link to that landing page. If you're sending them to videos that already exist, like on Facebook, for example, you just want to link to that video post specifically on Facebook. So it's easy for them to find it once they click over. And that's all you have to do to take this from email only funnel to video challenge funnel. But the automation that we just set up doesn't change. It's just the email content that changes. That's it. That's our simple challenge funnel automation. Good luck.